How's it going, guys? Hope everybody's well. TASTEE, Lethal Tactics. Not gonna lie, a bit of a strange name for a game. It confused me too. The guys that worked on this have also worked on the Age of Empires expansions, which I was a big fan of actually. Well, not just the expansions, the game in general really, but they've also worked on Door Kickers and Frozen Synopsis. I've only seen that written down on Steam, so I'm probably absolutely butchering that name. But they're a pretty talented bunch, and they've been so kind as to give me a free copy of the game. Well, a few free copies of the game. So if you want a copy of this, and I've got a couple to give away, stay watching till the end and I'll let you know how you can do that. Or just skip to the end of the video. Either way, you're going to get a free game out of it. But yeah, TASTEE, Lethal Tactics. If you enjoyed XCOM series and things like that, any sort of strategy game where it's either turn-based or the 4X games, you will probably dig this. It's by no means an easy game, but I'll go into that later. As of now, since the latest patch, I believe there's 12 mercenaries, but you don't get access to them straight away. You start off with 4 and you work your way up the ranks, and as you go on along the game, you'll get more mercenaries. Each mercenary has very different abilities. They vary wildly in what they can do and what they can't do and what their strengths and weaknesses are. But again, I'll go into that later in the gameplay basics. Gameplay is a little harder to explain, so I'm going to give it a quick sort of, if I can give it a layman's terms. Basically, you're going to be playing this like a game of chess, but all your pieces move at the same time, and the game can completely end because your whole squad gets wiped out because of one stupid decision, which is what you're going to see in the background now, because I had a bit of a disaster as I've switched to Windows 10 and I'm now using an SSD instead of the big old bulky 3.5 inch hard drives. I've lost a lot of data because I'm a clown. I don't really need to go into details, just trust me, I'm a clown. I've also had a problem with OBS. OBS is just being an absolute, I can't swear because they're going to be putting this on their social media, is being an absolute git at the minute, and I lost a lot of footage, so I now only have the footage from the first mission, and most of that was me failing, so well, enjoy me getting killed. Gameplay essentially is you move all your pieces. Once you're confident with each of your soldiers' movements, you press play. You can also preview their moves. By that I mean, if you're unsure of how a guy is going to move or where he's going to look or what he's going to do, you preview it. But what I've found is the preview isn't always 100%, because one stage I previewed a move, it looked like I was in the win. Just as an example, the guy shoots through the window, kills the enemy, bing bong, it's done. But then when I actually rolled the game and got it going, my guy got shot in the face repeatedly and died. So, well, that wasn't good. So I don't think the preview always works. I think it's essentially a guide on what will happen, but there is always that unpredictability of the enemy. You don't necessarily know what they're going to do. And also, if you're not in the direct eyeline sight of an enemy and they move out the way and one of your team isn't looking at them, they will completely disappear. Which is kind of neat, because it's how it would be. If you don't see someone and someone on your squad doesn't see them, they're going to be gone. They're not going to be there. They're essentially invisible. But the same applies to you. So the same rules that apply to the enemy apply to you. So you just got to keep that in mind, and it is not an easy game. The first few times I tried this, I just absolutely failed, because the tutorial does a great job in telling you the basics. It just doesn't really give you a great deal of, well, detail in how to play the deeper game. It'll give you a great rundown on the essential moving around, where to look, how to destroy barricades, but then when you get thrown into it, you'll get butchered. And don't feel bad about that, because, well, I got butchered repeatedly, over and over again. It took me probably 10 retries just to get past the first mission, but once I got the hang of the tactics and the general gameplay, you'll start to move forward, and it is not an easy game. So once you've set all your moves for your men, and you're confident of, well, men and women, once they're set and you know where you want them to go, you click play or commit orders, and they'll all start to move. But that means the enemy will also start to move. The idea is, the first mission, you've just got to get the money, get out of there, defend yourself, and then get out of there. And then as time goes on, the missions get a lot harder and harder. The third mission I actually struggled with the most, but I haven't got any further past that because, well, it just kicked my head in, and it is really hard. I'm still trying to get to grips with it at the minute. But yeah, it's found on Steam for, I've forgotten the price, so I'll just put it in the description box, because every time I try and say the price of a game I get it wrong and then have to put some stupid annotation on there saying I've got the price wrong. But yeah, by no means an easy game. Just be warned going into this, you will get your teeth kicked down your throat a few times. I love what the guys have done here. The only weak point I would say for me is the graphics. The story is fantastic. Obviously won't spoil anything. It's only early game that you see, well, very early game that you're seeing in the background now. But the story is great. The voice acting is great. I'm surprised it's an indie team. I couldn't believe it when it's released as an indie game, because it's really well put together. A lot of these small games that come out on Greenlight, or they come out as an early alpha game, they are diabolical voice acting, and it'll be some Polish guy trying to do a Cockney accent and sounds like an absolute Bert. But they've done a top job of this. There's also some really nice cutscenes in this, so you can tell they put the effort in. The game also has huge replayability. So once you've done a mission, you can always go back to certain things, and if you're not happy with a certain situation, you know, you can always go back and play it again. Also, the multiplayer is the one thing I have not delved into yet, but as far as I can tell, it's got a really active community, because all over the Steam community page, people are giving this, you know, it's got really positive reviews. There's a lot of people playing it. I'm always seeing on the profile when you start the game, you can see other people, how many losses and wins they've had, etc, etc, and you can challenge people essentially, and you know, go into a single battle. But I am not ready for that, because I will get destroyed. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not confident at this game at all. It took me 10 retries just to get past the first level, so if you're in for a challenge and you like that, then you're really gonna like Tasty Lethal Tactics. That was a quick review, a quick rundown, because to try and explain everything in this game would just make a 20-minute video, and hearing my voice for 20 minutes is just going to make people fall asleep, so I'm not going to do that to you, because I'm not a cruel person. But yeah, if you want a free copy of this game, Tasty Lethal Tactics, I don't know why I keep saying the name over and over again. All you have to do, it's not a scam, it's not a pyramid scheme, you don't have to sing or dance or do anything drastic. Just in my comments, let me know. Just say, hey, Short, that's my real name, Frostfire, I want this game. It's as simple as that. Just say, I want it. Nothing else. You don't have to be nice, you don't have to, well, I mean, don't be horrible to me, but just say, I want this game, and I will email you. Well, obviously you're going to need an email, and I'll email you the code, and then it's yours. It will also include another one so you can give to your friends. So that's essentially 2 copies per person I'm going to be giving away. So yeah, just let me know in the comments if you want this. The only downside I would say to this is graphics. The graphics aren't the best, the story's good, the gameplay's great, the difficulty is absolutely rampant, but the graphics are the one thing I would say that aren't stunning for me on this. It's the one downside, but then again, it's a strategy game. So the graphics aren't a huge importance, because I'm not a graphics snob or a resolution snob. If the gameplay's there, if the story's there, if it's fun and challenging, I'm going to enjoy it. I don't really care about the graphics. So that's the only downside. It's just not an absolutely stunning game. So if people have got $1 million NASA supercomputer, they're going to be a bit unhappy. They can't crank it to ultra and travel through time with their computer. But yeah, Tasty Lethal Tactics. I will put in the description underneath my video how much it is, because if I say it now, I'm just going to get it wrong. So yeah, made by the guys at Skybox Labs. Like I say, if you want a free copy, give me a shout in the comments. And thanks for watching, and see you again soon. See ya.